Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Delhi Capitals podcast with me, Suprita Das. I'm super excited about this one because our guest on the podcast today is someone who I'm very fond of as a human being, as a cricketer, and also she is our first representative from our WPL team. So please welcome the one and only Shikha Pandey. Hi.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm really impressed with the introduction you've given me.
I think after I was done, I was expecting like a round of applause, like it's a live show, and then I realized it's just us.
I'm sorry, I'll do that for you.
No, that's fine. Earlier this year, when the first edition of the Women's Premier League happened and Delhi Capitals acquired a team, I was super duper happy and joyous. And I know how long you all were waiting for to play in a competition like the WPL. Your first thoughts on how the first edition went, and of course we did super well to just miss out on the trophy by a whisker.
Yes, I guess it was a dream tournament for us, especially for someone who played the last year of domestic cricket. I was really chuffed for the domestic players more than anyone else. A lot of us do get chance to play international cricket, and we get to rub our shoulders against the best in cricket. But then to have a 18-year-old or a 19-year-old or someone who's been struggling, toiling hard at the domestic circuit, for them to have an opportunity to play against and with the likes of Meg Lanning, for example, is huge. And I was really chuffed for them. Initially, there would be a lot of 16, 17-year-olds in my team asking me about what it is and how it is to play against players like Meg. But now they were thinking that they also stand a chance to, play against and with these great cricketers. About DC in particular, I was really excited when I got to know that I got picked by DC. A real shame that I did not follow the auction process. I just gotten into the World Cup squad. I just gotten back into the team. So I thought at that point it was important for me to stay in the moment. And I hadn't played the first two games for India, so I was just hoping to get my chance and to make a mark and contribute towards the team's success. So then I got told by Jemmy, and that as in DC, I was like, Jemmy, am I in your team? But then when I got to see the other players, I was super duper excited. I've known
What is Jemmy? Am I in your team? Like, is that out of irritation or love? What is it?
Jemmy is the most irritating person I know, probably.
Jemmy.
You need to be energetic, but Jemmy is like energetic even at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Correct.
So that's Jemmy for you. And yes, on the flip side, it's always good to have players like Radha, Jemmy in the team who are like full of energy and they bring a lot to the cricket field other than just.
They take amazing catches. Like your bowling
Exactly. So most of the wickets that I got is because of the brilliant catches that these guys took. Full credit to them. So yes, the first season was really great when I got to know that there are such great cricketers in my team. I remember telling a lot of my India teammates that I'm so happy with the team, not just because they are great cricketers, but they are great human beings.
And I think, the inaugural edition of the WPL is, in a way, it's great. It's a watershed tournament because everyone's been waiting for it for so long. So it's a sign of how far we've come with regards to the women's game, but also how far we have to move and take the game forward, right? So I wanted to ask you, where do you see the women's game? What kind of a space do you think it currently is in?
I guess the numbers speak for themselves. When the whole auction process took place, we actually got to know the numerical and the monetary based stats about how it was the second biggest tournament, women's league in the world and all of that. And the only league that people were looking in terms of women's cricket was WBBL. And
Right.
for us in the very first season to have a tournament at this huge platform was really good for global women's sport, I would say. We'll not just confine ourselves to women's cricket, but it's such a huge opportunity. I've repeated this like 100 times probably, but I'll again repeat it. For a young kid who is just 5 or 6, when I was 5 or 6, or I've had so many teammates who have left cricket because they couldn't pursue cricket as a career. But today, when I'm a 5 or a 6-year-old kid, not just a girl, I would say, girls in particular, they are watching us play the whole month of March on the telly, and they can aim to dream big. And it's not them, their parents who are watching the cricket alongside them will be ready to support their dreams. So for a lot of us who've had success on in the field of cricket, is probably despite the system and not because of the system.
It's not probably, it is despite the
Yes.
system.
So, but now we will probably see a lot many more girls coming
Yeah.
through, and they'll be playing cricket because they can see their idols playing cricket on the telly every single night.
As we know, for women athletes in India, irrespective of what is your sport of choice, pretty much all those journeys across sports are against the odd kind of narratives, right? Could you tell us a little bit about those hurdles or obstacles that you wish were not part of your journey, but now when you look at it in perspective, you feel like, यार ये भी किया था, मैं ये भी करना पड़ा था.
For me, it was not more about family support, because I'm sitting here talking to you just because of the support that I got from my parents and
Yeah.
from my sister. But it was more to do with, I mean, as a 90s kid, there's this quote that everyone would use when I was growing up: "पढ़ोगे लिखोगे बनोगे नवाब, and खेलोगे कूदोगे बनोगे खराब." But at home, it was, my father would say, you can finish your homework and you can use all the other time to indulge yourself in whatever interests you. So it was just about finishing my homework, studying, and then from 4:30 to 7:30 I was allowed to go play cricket. He's a teacher, he's a retired teacher, so, and we've had humble background in terms of where we came from. So his only motto for us to follow was to get better than what he was. And so he made sure that I studied, and I think the one thing that I believe in what he told me was, education is going to stay with me till I die. I can probably, physical sport or anything else is not going to stay longer, but he wanted us to pursue higher studies and all of that. So I was really good at studies. I would play a lot of gully cricket with boys, and I mean, the normal story everywhere. I had a boycott. People wouldn't know that there's a girl playing alongside. So, but then studies was the priority, and I actually started professionally trying to learn cricket as a kid was when I was 18. When I was in my second year of engineering, I'd gotten into engineering. So whenever I see these 10, 11-year-old kids, I'm like, wow, you guys are so lucky, because they start so early. And there are pros and cons to that too. I think sometimes when you're starting early, there are chances of you getting exhausted, which I see in a lot of kids. That's why I'm a huge supporter of multi-sport bringing up. And then I was mature by the time I started playing cricket, and I knew I came from a background where if I was devoting my time into something, it had to be useful, and it had to, I mean, I had to produce results for that matter. So, I mean, that's my story. And then I just played 1 year of under-19 cricket, but
Yeah, you just said that's my story, skipping things like an engineering degree, Indian Air Force. मतलब वो सब तो कुछ हुआ ही नहीं, ऐसे ही.
like I said, I was good in studies. So, at
Yeah.
10th standard, I was a 90 percentile CBSE student. And then because I was interested in physics and mathematics, my obvious choice of subjects was getting into engineering. Scored an 89 point something in my 12th as well. Took up engineering, like I said before, started in my second year. My sister is also an engineer. So this very funny story, she actually wanted to be a doctor, but because she couldn't clear the exam and there were not those many seats available, she had to take up engineering. And when I had to choose between what I wanted to do, take up a job with a multinational company when I passed out in 2010, she was the one who supported my dream, and she was the one who persuaded my parents and said, I couldn't pursue my dream, but I can see that she will be able to. So let her, let's give her that whole year for her to pursue her dream. So after getting placed, I said no to many companies, and I said I want to take a year off, and which is very difficult.
Yeah,
Knowing
not everyone has that
yes
privilege, we can call
yes
it so.
yes so she was the one who kind of supported me. And again, I didn't make it in that 1 year. I had a very good season. The first ever NCA that happened, I was part of that. But then, like I said, it didn't really work out. So as a kid growing up, I've done all my studies in Kendriya Vidyalaya. So you have this defense setup, and you see cadets exercising, getting punished every morning when you're going to the school. So the other dream for me was to join armed forces. And then I remember this very funny conversation. My father says, who knows, you might join services and then you might get to play as well. I didn't really know that. So Indian Air Force or any of the services did not have a women's team. I still had the dream, okay, fine, I might get to play. But a lot of things, I mean, I truly believe that a lot of people in the background helped me. Like, at that time, NCA, the administrative manager, he was a ex-wing commander. He was a retired wing commander Jha. He's no more. So he saw me and he literally spoke to someone in the Air Force saying, this girl has huge potential. She's gotten into Air Force. Make sure that you give her enough opportunities. Wow. I had no idea about all of these. And Air Marshal, at that time, he was Air Commodore, Baladitya sir. He was someone, without even me knowing about it, I would get all the permissions to go continue playing cricket. So I got commissioned as an Air Force officer in 2012, July. And June 30th, sorry. And then in a year's time, I was playing for India in 2014.
Wow.
And to be very honest, I've seen Air Force was literally bending rules for me. Yeah. Air Force Sports Control Board, because the two cadres that are there, in officer cadre, there is no sports entry. So I literally got into Air Force through my studies because I'd done my engineering. I cleared the SSB. Also, funnily enough, I actually wrote the AFCAT and went for the SSB when I was in Bangalore already for a cricket camp. And just because the dates were closer, I kind of said, let me just go. And I used to read a lot, and I had read an article about how Amitabh Bachchan couldn't clear an SSB. And I was amazed. What is this? That is so difficult. Let's try giving it. And I cleared my SSB in my first attempt. And it was fun. I mean, it was a really different experience, I would say. And then there's this whole thing whether I should join Air Force or not and all of that. And my ranking was pretty good. So like I mentioned before, my father said, if you're destined to play, you will play. Yeah. And so many people working behind. I had no clue about all of this that happened. I only got to know when I played for India. And I guess the stars align, and if you're fortunate enough, you'll be there at the right time, at the right place. Yeah. And I got lucky. I mean, I still consider myself lucky because not everyone have that opportunity to pursue one dream, and here I was able to pursue both of them. Yeah. So in March 2014, I debuted for India, and the selectors actually showed so much faith for me to kind of go into a World Cup.
Why fast bowling as a choice? Because mostly kids pick up and they want to become batters, mostly in India, right? Everybody's role model is Sachin Tendulkar. Okay, now Virat and there's MS Dhoni. Why fast bowling though?
As a kid growing up, also my idol was Sachin Tendulkar. And like I said, when we would travel to our native place, like I'm actually from Uttar Pradesh. I call myself a pan-Indian because I was born in now Telangana, Ramagundam, a place in Telangana. And brought up, we moved to Goa when I was 8. So there were these books which would come at that time, cricketing books, Cricket Samrat, and all of those books. And the first thing I would go to a bookstore was pick up Cricket Samrat because that's like my absolute favorite. Champak and all of those, Gokulam. I've grown up. So every day in the night we were meant to read and then sleep. That was a routine that we would follow, Papa being a teacher. So I would read these books, and I read an interview of Sachin that he wanted to go to MRF. I don't know whether he actually made it to MRF or not, but because of his height, he was told that he can't be a fast bowler. And I probably, growing up, was shorter than him. I was being very naive, and I said, that's nonsense. I mean, I can become a fast bowler, and I'll show the world, as if anyone is going to care about what I'm doing in my life. And I'm going to kind of bowl fast. So that was when I started kind of loving fast bowling and wanting to be a fast bowler. After that, when I actually started watching a lot of cricket, I've watched a lot of cricket with Papa, and I didn't really like the shots package as much, but wickets package was something that I would look forward to. Okay. Like if I had to head out to play, I would make sure that I saw the wickets package. So small little things like that. Okay. But the first under-19 tournament that I played, I still loved batting. I still love batting even now. I call myself a bowling all-rounder. So that is probably one of the reasons then. And then when you watch Test match cricket, I had fallen in love with Test match cricket. So even when I was writing my 10th standard board exams, I would get up in the morning at 4:30 to watch Ashes or watch India
Yeah.
play Australia in Australia, I would love the way Glenn McGrath would come and bowl, and they were my heroes growing up. So I started having a liking for bowlers who could bat. Sean Pollock, Lance Clusner was an absolute favorite in the '99 World Cup.
You're taking the best names.
Andrew Flintoff, the 2005 Ashes series. So I kind of had a liking for them. So then I kind of wanted
Do you have
to
any
become.
posters up in your room?
Yes, so Sports Star again
page?
because yes. Even Cricket Samrat had posters. So
Which ones did you have?
I had so many of them.
No, the fast bowlers.
I had Jawagar Srinath. I had all the medium pieces that were there. I had Andrew Flintoff's poster as well, Lance Clusner. And I started understanding the rules and all of that in 97, 98. 96 World Cup, I still remember Jayasurya hitting sixes. I wouldn't still understand the rules and all of that. I must have been 6 or 7 by then. But 98, the Sandstorm innings that Sachin played in Sharjah, I was sleeping then, 9:30. And
Yeah.
my father woke me up and he said, if you ever want to play cricket, you should play like this. So, all the fast bowlers, even if they were not Indians,
Yeah.
were people that I would look forward to watching them bowl. And I guess sometimes, even when I'm playing cricket now, I think of how simple playing cricket was back then. And then I try to go back to that 5-year-old kid who loved the sport just because I could go play with my friends. There were no phones, there were no video games. Road Rash was one that we would play on the computer back then. But then the only way I could speak to my friends and have fun was to physically go out there.
Meet them and play with them.
Yes.
Yeah. You've of course been part of two World Cup finals. 2017, after that heartbreaking loss at Lord's by 9 runs, you all land in Mumbai, and the kind of love and the kind of reception that everyone got, you wouldn't believe that it was for a runner's up side. That how was that feeling? Knowing that हम फाइनल हार चुके हैं, हम बहुत करीब थे ट्रॉफी के, लेकिन हम नहीं जीत पाए. बट हे, इधर तो स्टोरी अलग ही है.
हाँ, अच्छा तो लगा. All of us were heartbroken. It was so bad that the next in the morning, we went for breakfast and we couldn't see anyone at breakfast because no one wanted to eat. And one thing I would like to mention here is there are so many fans and supporters of the sport, and they feel so bad and they kind of abuse cricketers.
Yeah.
Just because we've lost a game, not just because we have lost a game and all of that. They need to understand sometimes that they are just watching the match on the telly and we are the ones who are actually playing the sport, and it's so difficult for us to sometimes digest it. Even now when you said 2017, I've literally gone back. I didn't have a very good final.
Yeah.
I've literally gone back onto the ground, and I've just kind of, there are 2-3 glimpses of what just happened and all of that, and I've just gone back to those memories. Yes, it was. It was none of us expected the kind of reception that we got here. We got to meet the PM, and the reception that we got at the airport to start with was nothing that we had ever dreamt of. Again, just because all the matches were televised.
Yeah.
And we also need to understand that there were 15 playing members of the 2017 World Cup, but the work that had been done by so many other players for us to get
Before
there.
that, right?
Yes, many of us do not give enough credit to the ex-women cricketers, which I think should start happening. I've seen the culture in the other countries, which is slightly different from what it is now. But I think on that front, we are slightly, we don't really acknowledge the ex-women cricketers, that the work that they have done. We talk about the pay parity and all of that right now. But when you hear stories from the legends of the sport, like a Juludi, when they talk about how they would travel in unreserved bogies and in the trains and all of that, they didn't get any money to play cricket.
Yeah.
But the only thing that pushed them to continue playing cricket was the passion that they had for the sport. So all of the work that they did kind of culminated in the 2017 World Cup, and also the first time WPL started. And we need to realize, and we need to give credit where it is due,
Yeah.
for all the work that the ex-women cricketers have done.
But you mentioned 2017, and by 2017 when you guys came back, all of that, hoo-ha and the celebration and all of that happened, and then you guys had also become known faces, which is why the appetite for the women's game, I think, grew. And whenever there was an India match, that wasn't televised, you'd always find people on Twitter saying, "This is the Indian team, साउथ अफ्रीका के साथ खेल रहे हैं, फर्स्ट टूर्नामेंट है वर्ल्ड कप के बाद, कहाँ दिखेगा, कौन स्ट्रीम कर रहा है," राइट, विच इज अमेजिंग. एंड इट बिल्ट अप टू 2020, of course, where we again made it to the final, before the pandemic hit and sort of changed all our lives. You said you brewed, but after you've dealt with 2 losses in 2 big finals, how would you cope? Different athletes have different ways of doing it. It's not easy. And like you said, it's easy for people to be tweeting away or just, saying ke फिर से चोक कर गए फाइनल में.
So there was this documentary that ICC made, Beyond Boundary, if I'm not wrong, and so I think it came in March, and it was towards the end of March or probably April first week, and my parents wanted to watch it. It had come on social. I think it was available on Netflix, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And my parents wanted to watch it, and I said, "Yeah, you can go ahead and watch." And because it was pandemic, I was staying with them. So I said, "You can go ahead and watch." And they're like, "You're not going to watch it." I said, "No, why will I watch?"
Oh, gosh.
And then they're like, "No, we would want to watch it along with you." So sometimes you kind of forget about the good that you've done, and you just fixate at the wrong things, or probably that one match where you haven't done well. And I wrote a blog also about it, how proud I was to be that one member in that 86,000 plus crowd that came. That was probably the highest crowd attendance till then in Australia. I actually spoke to Raman sir, who was the coach, and I spoke to him, and he said sometimes some players are on fire, and you drop a chance of theirs on the first go, then they make you pay. And that's what happened. And Elisa Healy was on another planet that day. The kind of hitting that she did was
unreal.
Yes. At some points, I did not have any answer for it. But again, we couldn't win the World Cup. Again, brooding did happen. And I'm someone who always likes going back and watching videos. I like doing all of that stuff.
Post-mortem.
Not post-mortem. Even before preparing for a tournament, I like to do my research, I would say. And I actually make notes about what am I going to do against this player and that player. And that didn't really work in that final that we played against Australia. Then you need to give yourself another target or an aim to achieve, and then you try to focus all of your energy towards that, because that's how you're going to get out of what has happened. So then I thought of getting into another World Cup and trying my level best to contribute towards to be the best team player that I can. I know I'm not someone who's very talented. I've had to put a lot of hard work. I'm not very athletic as well. I actually need to put a lot of work even on that front. But then I told myself that the next time I get an opportunity to play for India, I'll make it count. So yeah, it's just about having the dream of winning a World Cup. The under-19s did it. Highly motivated individuals we were when we were watching them play the finals. But then it's about winning that World Cup, because to be very honest, no one remembers the runners-up or the number, the people who come second. It's only always people who are first who are remembered. Movies are made on people who are winners, which I think is not fair, but that's how the world works. So it's about winning a World Cup.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think that's what is going to bring about the change. No changes can happen overnight, of course, but एक ट्रॉफी, एक मेडल आ जाएगा तो उसका इम्पैक्ट अलग ही रहता है बहुत. Since we were speaking of brooding and heartbreaks, I want to touch upon your personal journey as a cricketer. There have been, I think safe to call it, heartbreaks with regards to being picked, not being picked for India. I know it cannot be easy. How do you still, what drives you?
That's a very difficult question to answer. People just talk about the 2022 World Cup, about me not being picked. I was not even picked for 2018 World Cup. I've literally made a lot of comebacks because there was not much media attention to women's cricket before that. There have been a lot of stories. Probably we can kind of speak about them for 2 hours, but I guess it's not going to serve any purpose. So when I didn't get picked, I thought it was the end of the day for me. I had thoughts of retiring probably, and because it's the World Cup at the end of the day, and I had played the whole World Cup cycle. I had taken good number of wickets, I would say, and I thought I was good enough to still play cricket. And then I didn't get picked, Again, it was selections are not in my hands, but then the decisions that I come to get out of those situations were completely in my hand. I couldn't get myself to get out of the bed for 10 straight days. I still remember that. And I spoke to my sister about it, and then she says, don't try to take any emotional decision because you are not thinking straight right now. And after 10 odd days, I started going to play against boys to my childhood coach, the first coach that I used to play, I used to train under. And I just wanted to get so busy training that I would forget about anything, just get tired and go off to sleep.
It numbs the pain.
Yeah, it does. I can vouch for it. I would do heavy conditioning in the morning, heavy gym sessions in the morning. And when I look back at it, I think that I was blessed. I was blessed to have so many good people in my life, because it can get really difficult when you're just alone trying to take the pain off you. And I had the training staff and the coaches that I had at Goa Cricket Association. Not once did anyone mention about me not getting picked. It was all about how could I get better. And I still thought there were things that were not great in my game, and I kind of started working towards them. I thought my batting capability is something that's more than what it is depicted, and I scored a lot of runs in domestic that year in April. I still didn't get picked to play exhibition IPL games, women IPL games. Then, like I said, I was trying to find all the ways to get that love for the sport back, because I thought I was falling out of love.
Maybe that happens when you're pursuing something at the highest level, right? There is a reason why you started pursuing your career, why I started doing mine, because of the love for it. And then comes in the pressure of performing at the highest level, and you kind of lose out on that. That love diminishes a little bit.
Yes, as international cricketers, sometimes you forget about the process. You're just looking at
Outcomes.
The results. There have been days that I've bowled the best that I could, and I've just gotten a wicket or probably gone wicketless. There are a lot many spells like that of mine, and there have been days that I've bowled absolute crap. I've bowled full tosses and gotten wickets of those. So we kind of forget. We become so result oriented when you are a professional cricketer, and I guess at that time you need a good mentor. They can be your coach, or they can be your well-wisher, a friend, your parents, anyone who kind of gets you back to the reality of not making your life that materialistic. It's about you understanding that you did well, and it's okay. The wickets column does matter, but the runs that you give in the maiden column, which comes first in the bowler's analysis, does matter too. Yeah. So for me, I mean, I was just trying to figure out different ways of, trying to get that love for the game back. In 2021, we toured Australia, and there was Talia McGrath, and she just came back into the side, and she was a completely different individual, her mindset. So I read an article that spoke about her having some sessions with Belinda Clark, absolute legend of the game. And I just took a chance. I got in touch with Melanie Jones, another fantastic human being.
She is
amazing. I got in touch with her, and I asked for Belinda's email ID and if she could introduce me. And she did the introduction. And I still remember, it must be a 2-page long email that I wrote to Belinda. And I had absolutely zero expectations of her replying back, to be very honest. In a week's time, I guess, one day in the morning, I get up and I have a reply from Belinda Clark. I'm like, wow. And then I started working with her, and working in the sense, she's not a friend of mine. I would say that I was blessed to do the leadership course that she runs in Australia. I did the course with her. And when I didn't get picked, to be very honest, I thought I add zero value to any team. And the conversations that I had with her were more towards how can I help anyone. And then she just told me, you actually know the knows or what not to do in the team environment or with the situation around. You can actually, because you're the captain of the Goa side, you can get back and do, and you literally know what to do. And I got back to the team, and there were so many things that we started doing in terms of squad mentality, That way, I'm so blessed to play in a team where we are so focused on the team doing well.
Yeah.
There's no place for individuals in my Goa team. I mean, I say that with a lot of pride. And every time I play with my team, we make sure that we are working as a team, because that's one thing I take a lot of pride in. So a 16-year-old still calls me Chiku, and my teammates call me Chiku. So there is no senior junior in Goa team.
Yeah.
It's about who's more experienced and who needs to take a little more responsibility, and who's lesser experienced. So I got back to doing things that I would want in an ideal team environment. And I started having a lot of conversations with them, because I wasn't able to give that much time when I was with the Indian Air Force. But now I had a lot of time. I would stay back after my sessions to give throwdowns to my teammates. And I realized I was missing out on something. And I started having conversations with them, long conversations with them. And we tried to bring in everything that we could to make the team environment as a family. And I would say that I owe them a lot in terms of me wanting to get back and do well for the team, wanting to play higher level cricket again. Belinda is again someone who's kind of sparked that. She helped me get back, and then she also helped me to go to Australia. I played last year for a club called Vinham Manly. Such great people. I had fun. I had absolute fun. So in my to-do list when I went to Vinham was to have fun. That was the number one thing on. Otherwise, I'm someone who's who wants to prepare, who wants to watch videos. I had no clue who I was playing the next day.
Right.
And I had absolute fun. I mean, there were so many Australians there, the Vinham guys, and they said, whenever you play, wherever you play, you have these Aussie supporters. And like, what else can you ask for?
Yeah.
And I had an absolute blast for the 3 weeks that I stayed there and played cricket. Got 100 in my first game. They didn't expect me to bat, but I had fun. And then they realized, okay, she can bat. So I had fun on that front too.
See, that's what you got to keep on top of your list always.
Yes.
To have
yes,
fun, because
yes,
that works.
Yes.
That's amazing. You are far from being done as a cricketer. I mean, people can write their columns and they can type out their tweets, whatever. But what is on your cricketing bucket list, if I were to ask you so?
So when I made a comeback in 2018, every international ground, every ground that I played at, I made sure that I take a picture, which was something that I wouldn't do before. And Jemmy knows about it. So Jemmy is the one who's like, I'm someone who is not always with my phone. I hardly use my phone. So if she watches me after a tournament with my phone going towards the ground, she'll come running. She's like, yeah, I know what you're going for. So making memories, I guess, is the first thing that I would do. Enjoying the sport. Because we don't realize, I won't remember anyone for the 5-wicket haul or 100 that they scored for India. I will remember them for the shoulder that they gave me when I wanted to cry. So the friendships that you get from playing cricket, not just international cricket, a club level cricket, state level cricket,
Correct.
is immense. And we sometimes forget about all of those because we are so much into results and all of that. So having friends is such a huge thing, and friendships for me is probably something that cricket has given me. So I've made so many friends on this journey.
Fast bowling is the best thing about cricket because, complete the sentence.
Because the stumps shattering is the best thing ever.
Nice. If you had the magic power to change the results of one of the 2 World Cup finals that you've been a part of, which one would it be, 2017 or 2020?
2017, for sure.
Okay. Your favorite fast bowlers from the past?
I've mentioned them already. Andrew Flintoff, Lance Klusener, Sean Pollock. So many of them. I mean, everyone who bowls fast is my favorite.
Okay. Favorite fast bowler from the present?
From the present, still a huge fan of James Anderson. Shame that Stuart Broad retired. All the Indian fast bowlers, Mohammad Shami, he's seeing presentation. Jasprit Bumrah, he's just on his comeback trail. Hopefully he does well. So many of them.
Okay. A fast bowler you'd love to open the bowling with, like a dream bowling partner. It could be male, female, across countries, teams, whatever.
I've heard so much about Catherine Fitzpatrick. That's one. The second was Marizanne. I always wanted to play, and I was so lucky. I mean, just to add here, I know it's a rapid.
That's sure.
It seemed as though she was the local when we were playing in Mumbai, and she had so much to tell me. And it was funny because when we were taking wickets, we were literally not celebrating and going ahead and talking to each other and saying, okay, this ball is working well here, this variation might work here, and all of that. So, yes, Marizanne.
Okay. Any Delhi Capitals bowler you'd like to open the bowling with? Again, so from the men's team, because you have your teammates in any case in the WPL team.
Ishant Sharma and Enric. I mean, I was a huge fan of his Yorkers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So you can invite 3 cricketers home for dinner.
Cricketers.
From the past or present, who would you invite
Can
for
it
dinner?
be sports person and
That's
not
my next
cricketers?
question.
Oh,
So
wow.
first we deal with the cricketers.
Cricketers.
Or do you not want to call them home?
I have to be very diplomatic here, so it'll be Radha, Shefali, and Jemmy from the India teammates of mine from WPL Team DC.
Lovely. Okay, so now 3 non-cricketers you'd like to call home for dinner.
Non-cricketers, okay.
Yeah.
Roger Federer, Serena Williams, and Andy Murray.
Nice. Okay, last one. So there's a WhatsApp group with players you've played with and you play with currently. Who is the one who's going to be sending good morning forwards every day?
Jemmy would, if she was allowed to. She would send them at 2 a.m. in the morning. So, yeah, she's the one. Yes.
Who would be the one reacting and responding to every single message?
Again, Jemmy.
My God, she's winning this. The one who would respond the least.
I.
Okay. Who's the one who would be making all the catch-up plans? Movie dekhne chalte hai, khana khane chalte hai.
From here, I think Aru is very, very interested in doing all of those things. She was talking about going for a movie, some Bollywood masala movie.
Okay. Last, who's the one who will just leave the group because she doesn't just believe in group chats? Please don't say me.
I think Marizanne was one who
Yeah.
wouldn't really answer like all the questions, and me as well. Yes.
Okay. And the very last one, Shikha, the title of your autobiography would read.
Oh wow, the headband warrior or something.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Keep it in your notes. I
I
think you
shall.
have it. You have it in your CPU.
That sometimes doesn't help because I remember the bad things more.
No, I mean, they're all a part of your story. Shikha, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for coming on our podcast. I hope you had a good time. I had a wonderful time chatting. And we will see you around in WPL. And yeah, I think that title you said was pretty good. So just keep doing your thing.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me. I'm not much of a social media person,
But
I like podcasts, and I'm going to listen to all the DC podcasts like I promised you.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.